What we saw in the video was something called survival of the fittest. We had mice of two different colors living in two different environments. One was light and sand colored, one was dark and rocky, the lava rocks, and depending on where different mice lived and the color of their coat, they were easy prey for animals, or they would blend in and be able to escape being eaten. So if a species has high fitness, it is more likely to survive and produce offspring, passing down those beneficial adaptations to their offspring, to the next generation. If a species has little fitness, then it's less likely to survive unless it adapts. So like we saw with the light-colored mice, they blended in very well with the sand, so they were more fit for that environment. The darker colored mice blended in with the lava rocks, so they were more fit for that environment. And because of this, they were able to pass on those beneficial adaptations to their offspring. This process is called survival of the fittest, because the fit, the ones that are best adapted to their environment, are more likely to survive and reproduce. Here's just a quick little image showing us what we saw in the video. So if we're looking at the lava rocks, we start out with a population of a mix of the two different phenotypes, the light color and the dark color. We see that this hungry hawk ate many of the ones it could see, those light sand-colored mice. Those darker mice that blended in were able to survive, and they were not eaten. Therefore, in the last panel here, we see that the dark-colored mice were able to reproduce, pass on that dark color gene, and there are more of them in the next generation because, again, they were able to survive, pass on those genes, and be more fit for their environment. Why were the mice diverse to begin with? How did we get this different colored mice fur? The light color, the dark color, they had the white underbellies. And why is it that every generation of organisms has that variation in phenotypes and genotypes? What causes the genetic diversity? Well, that's easy. Meiosis and mutations. In meiosis, we saw those three places of genetic diversity. We saw the crossing over in prophase 1, the independent assortment in metaphase 1, and after meiosis, when those gametes mix, we get the random fertilization. We don't know which eggs and which sperm are going to fertilize to create the zygote, so we don't know which alleles are going to show up for that offspring. Also, mutations, they happen. Random things pop up in a genetic code that may alter the color of something, the size of something, whatever. So perhaps way back when, all of those mice were light sand colored, and a mutation popped up where we had a dark color and it was advantageous, so it continued to pass down that dark color gene. Descent with modification is that every living species has descended from a previous individual or species, and it has changed in some way. So like we saw with the mice, they all descended probably from those light-colored mice before the lava rocks came around, and as they made changes to adapt and survive, they inherited changes that made them more fit. Common descent implies that everything is descended from some sort of common ancestor. All flowers are related, all bugs are related, all reptiles are related, all mammals are related, all birds are related. They all have relation far back in their history. And if you go far enough back in time, all living things have a common ancestor, likely some prokaryote bacteria, and over millions and millions of years, it adapted and changed and became different species, which then made more species and more species. That was Factors for Evolution. I hope it helped.